tune in. Let me know in the comments, who do you reckon is going to be taking the title here in Sylt? We had a little bit of a break, and as you can see there in the background on the left-hand side, a huge rain cloud, a little bit of thunder came through as well, and it's looking pretty dark and gloomy out there. Local time 1:10 in the afternoon, and I can tell you as well, we've had a big step up in the winds. This cloud has brought some hefty stuff with us. We are now sitting just shy of 30 knots. Riders out on their 7s. And it's all systems go out here for Sylt. Last heat for Hydrofoil Big Air. It's time to crown a champion. And we are not sure who's at the put the money on. Charles Brodel, definitely the man to beat. He has been putting together huge moves. Scored up in the 90s. He had the highest combined heat total score in his semi-final. But there's a lot on the line. Anything can happen. So let me know who you're going to think. I can see some comments here saying Brodel will win. What about Lorenzo Casati? Also put together a great semi-final. Pierre Schneider, a rider that's really impressed myself and a lot of others with his smooth landings. And let's not take out of consideration our 4th rider, Joselito. Fought for his place in the final and deserved to be here. So there we have Lorenzo Casati. He will be first to jump. So we're just going to follow these riders because we're waiting for that green flag to be raised, the buzzer to beat, and then we can get in sequence. So let me remind of you, there's the buzzer. So 7 trick attempts, 3 of which are counting. What are we looking for? What are the judges in the booth want to see from our riders, especially in conditions like this? Well, height, power, amplitude, execution of the maneuver, all within a technical difficulty factor. All right, you link them all together and you perform a good move, you're going to see big scores. All right, Charles Brodel's got the biggest scores so far. We know that we can get 8s and 9s. Are we going to see innovation? We did see an attempted S loop from Pierre Schneider, but Lorenzo Casati here going for the double back roll kite loop, which has now gone into a crash. So that's going to be a crash for Lorenzo to kick things off for the final. Seven trick attempts. 26 knots I've got on our live wind speed at the moment. It is refreshing every few seconds, so it's fluctuating. Back roll into the kite loop, into... I thought there was another back roll there on first glance, but Lorenzo Casati, yeah, just going in the drink. So next to jump, we're going to see Joselito running for Cabrina here. Tends to do his jumps right foot forward. So let's have a little look as we can see rotation with that contra loop. Rides out of it nicely. So there will be a scored trick. You can see as well with the tide. We're at high tide at the moment. Waves bashing up onto the beach right up at the event site. So high tide is peaking. The wind is also booting. And we're in the final heat of the day for Hydrofoil Men's Big Air. And then this afternoon we will be getting and kicking things off with the kite surf discipline. Double-headed event here in Sylt. The first time we've done that. The last couple of years we've been here purely for kite surf. But this year, with the added addition of hydrofoil, it's been fantastic. We've got such a good forecast on our hands here in Sylt. 4 days of constant pumping wind, with Friday absolutely nuking. We can just keep our fingers, our toes, everything crossed that that forecast remains and stays the same, because we're going to see some epic action. Pierre Schneider now, first trick attempt for the Swiss. Left foot forward, likes what he sees here with the kicker. A lot of rolling wind swell out there at the moment, especially with that higher tide as he takes off with the back roll, kite loop, with 2 back roll rotations on the way down. Smooth landing. Pierre Schneider has turned up. Just untwisting the bar there with the lines, as you can see. 4.07 for Joselito. Lorenzo Casati didn't score the first trick because he was on a crash. Pierre Schneider now scores to drop, waiting for the judges. Red flag is still in the air. Up next is going to be Charles Brodel, your current GKA Hydrofoil Big Air World Champion. Took the title there last year. I think off the top of my head, he might be a 5-time world champion. I have to get that confirmed. But the number 5 rings a bell for me. Okay, Charles Brodel now riding the F1 prototype. Takes off. Kite loop board off. Plenty of style. Maybe wanted to try and get a grab at the end there on the nose of the board. But that will do. That's a nice opening score. We did see a 7.03 scored for his kite loop board off in the last heat. I don't think that was as high. But let's see. I mean, you see the replay here. Kite loop board off by the front foot strap as well. Yeah, nearly went for the grab, but decided against it. But he did take a bit of a tumble here as he drove away. Drove away? Rode away, I mean. And you might be able to hear now the rain peppering this live booth container. So that tells me one thing. We're going to see the wind increase. Give me a refresh. Yep. Wind's coming in now, big time. And I think we're going to be going on standby in this heat. We've got to be very cautious with all the gear. And we're now going back onto standby. Okay, so here we go. We're on standby. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm just looking out the window here and it's absolutely peppering it down. So let's go on standby. We've got a couple of riders. They've done one trick attempt each. Let's just go through those scores that we did see. I mean, Charles Brodel, the score is still to drop at the moment. And he went for that kite loop board off. We also have Pierre Schneider with the kite loop back roll as well. Joselito with the contra loop front roll. And then Lorenzo Casati opened up with a crash, okay? So they're the first scores that we do have. And just while we're waiting to kickstart this final up again, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Okay, welcome back everyone. Thanks for staying with us. Big thanks. And I can just give you a little bit of an update into why we're actually on standby at the moment. Competition's gone on standby because we just had a huge rain squall come through, and what we've actually found is that we do see a big decrease in the wind. And I just actually checked the wind reader while we were offline there, and it was on to about 25 to 30 knots for the comp, and then it just dropped right down towards 15. So we went on standby. Hopefully we'll be able to kickstart the event up back and running for the remaining of the final. We are going to keep those scores. We're going to keep firing through. So just to remind you, if you are tuning in on the final, our riders are going to have 7 trick attempts, and 3 of which are going to be counting. And it's important that our riders tick those different families to make up that overall score. Bit of a review of the event so far. Firstly, we've had a great forecast, and it's really looking good for the rest of the week. We've got a double-headed event. We've got kite surf discipline, and we've got hydrofoil big air discipline. The hydrofoil has been the main priority so far during days 1 and day 2. We're on day 2 of the event so far. You can see here on the camera the rain isn't going anywhere at the moment. We're just going to go on standby yet because we are seeing a big decrease in the conditions and with the rain. So yesterday we saw the early rounds 1, 2 and 3. Really good. No one got eliminated. All about that seeding. Where are they going to place in round 4? Are they going to make it to round 5? We kicked off today around 10 AM with round number 4, where 2 riders advance and 2 riders don't advance. We're in heats of 4 during rounds 4, 5 semis and the final. We then had the next heats, and it's just top 2 advance until you reach the final. Some amazing semi-finals as well. We saw the likes of Lorenzo Casati really step it up and earn his place in the semi-final. During round 4, he didn't maybe have the best of heats. Unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to a few of our local heroes here in Germany. Finn Flugel, the youngster, wasn't able to get through his semi-final. Also, Linus Erdmann, the 8-time German champion, unfortunately not able to start competing with us today. So, yep, we're in the final now. Our 4 riders are going to be Joselito Del Rosario, Lorenzo Casati, Piers Schneider, and Charles Brodel. There we have the men's hydrofoil graphic there. You can see their faces all looking super chuffed, ready to compete. And yeah, Lorenzo coming out of Spain, actually from Italy, but residing over in Spain, spends a lot of time in Tenerife. You might remember the name. He is a Red Bull King of the Air champion. He does all the disciplines, but he favors in the twin tip. He's also actually competing in the kite surf division later on for the rest of the week. He's out here with his brother Leonardo Casati, another real youngster, absolutely ripping. Joselito, coming out of the Dominican Republic, pretty much has been with us on the hydrofoil events for the last couple of years, few years, and yeah, one of the top riders in the discipline. Most definitely trains a lot with his team, with his friend Alex Soto, who unfortunately narrowly missed out in the semi-final. A little bit of a local battle there between the 2 of them. A rider that's really impressed me this competition, Piers Schneider, really linking up the landings together. I was fortunate enough to have Teo Damanez in with me in the booth. He's been a rider that's competed in this division and also will be competing in the kite surf, and he joined me for the semi-finals and was equally impressed with Pierre's level of riding. He is a fully deserved rider to be here in the final and has really thrown down. I mean, he opened up this heat with the final of a kite loop back roll. That scored a 5.33. And then we move on to the final rider in this heat, the guy that needs no introduction, the man of the moment, the man to beat, Mr. Charles Brodel, multiple world champion, riding out of France, spends a lot of time in the south of France in places like Barcarès, loves the strong wind, so he'll be chuffed to see the forecast here in Sylt with it being so hefty and strong. The last heat from Charles was a 25.17, and that is the highest combined heat score that we've seen throughout the whole competition. And I also believe that in that last heat that we saw with Charles, there was an individual trick score of around a 9. I'm just going to have a little look myself now, see if I can see what that was. But yeah, he is throwing it down, showing style with ease, as I like to call steezy stuff. So those are our 4 riders, and as I mentioned, just waiting to get the go-ahead from our race team, our sports team, and Juan Antonio, our race director, exceptionally experienced, and knows when to do the right call. You can see here the tide is very high. Some real nice ramps, especially those that are jumping with left foot forward. So do not go anywhere. Very, very shortly we will have an update for you and we will get this final back underway. Okay, so good news is that we're going to be getting this final back underway in the next few moments. Don't go anywhere. We're just going to jump to a quick commercial break and then we'll be back with the rest of this final.
Wir sind die mit dem Frühlingsquark. Würzig mild, extra cremig und immer frühlingsfrisch. Für euch haben wir immer neue Ideen, damit für alle was dabei ist. Auch vegan. Macht's euch einfach lecker mit der Quark- und Streichvielfalt von Milram. Jetzt wild und neu. Frühlingsquark Wildkräuter.
There's so many different places that I've never seen before, and a million things I never felt this way. Time to go now. New horizons waiting, sail away with me. Where the oceans meet the sky.
AIDA. Erlebt euch anders.
Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with them, take a jump around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with them.
Okay, and that's the sight that we want to see. We want to see those flags raised, and we are back in sequence. So here we go. Men's final, Hydrofoil Big Air. Who's it going to be? Lorenzo Cossati, Joselito Del Rosario, Pierre Schneider, or Charles Brodel? All these riders have had one trick attempt already. So 6 trick attempts left, 3 of which are going to be counting. So here we go. Lorenzo Casati finding a kicker, left foot forward, going for the front roll, but completely losing it there, skipping out with the foil. We don't want to get that foil near those lines, otherwise you could be saying goodbye to your kite. But Joselito is going to be up next. Lorenzo with another crash. So not the start that he really was looking for. As you can see there, looking front roll rotation, but just completely skipping out on the landing. Not much height either. He needs to go bigger. There's one guy who knows about going to the moon, Lorenzo Casati. He's all about big air. Black flag now, Joselito. Had a controlute front roll to kick things off in his heat. And here he is, the Dominican. Left foot forward, so let's try and use that kicker. But momentum getting the best of him there, losing a bit of speed and going down, but he carries on. So important for these hydrofoil athletes to choose their equipment wisely. Goes up. Kite loop. And just as we kickstart the heat off, what comes around? A load of rain. So let's see what call is made here. It's looking wet out there, but it's windy. They're in wetsuits anyway, aren't they? They're out in the sea. They're in wetsuits. Doesn't really matter. But let's see how it goes. Rain's starting to come down a little bit heavier now. Black flag still up for Joselito. Pierre Schneider is going to be the next rider to jump. There he is at the moment. Let's see what the wind is doing. Is this rain killing the wind, or is it staying? It's about 24 knots at the moment, so there's definitely been a slight drop in the wind. About half an hour ago, I saw on the wind reader it peaked up to 35. So the wind has definitely been fluctuating up and down. Pierre Schneider now. Left foot forward, goes up, back roll, kite loop. Is there another rotation there? No, there isn't. And he lands it. So Pierre Schneider again with a nice, consistent base going into this final. Crash for Joselito on the last one. Watch the replay. Black roll into the kite loop. And he goes down just with a smooth landing. And you can probably hear the peppering of rain on my window. Poor camera guys coming into the booth looking soaked. I'm in there nice and dry. It's quite toasty in here actually. Okay, Charles Brodel now. Right foot forward. You can see there the rain just... He's probably using his hand. Back roll, kite loop with a back roll afterwards. Followed by a crash. Interesting here with the conditions. This could really shake things up a little bit. I mean, every rider is out there in the same conditions. It's the same for everyone, but you can see here back roll, kite loop into the back roll again. But it's definitely going to be tough for the rider. If the rain stays like this, the riders that are going right foot forward, they're going to be going into the rain. So it's going to be quite nasty on the face and in the eyes. So anyone jumping the other way is definitely going to find it a little bit easier on that side. But I'm looking at the wind, and we're now, yeah, it's just dropped a tad again. And as I was mentioning, so important for these hydrofoil athletes to choose the right gear, you know. They want to make sure they've got the right front wing on their board. Maybe it's not too big so they don't get crazy amount of lift. You know, they want to choose the right kite size. You know, they don't want to go too small that they're not going to get any height like that. You know, that was Lorenzo Casati with just the back roll. You know, but they want a bit of power in the kite so that they can actually get some height and loop it. So there's a lot to think about and factor in. As the blue flag is up for Lorenzo Casati, but I think the focus now goes over to Joselito. Definitely been a drop in wind now. We're looking at 16 knots at the moment. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe we go on a bit of a pause. Oh, and there we go. Yeah, I've just heard the buzzer go. Great timing there. Great minds think alike, they say. So, yeah, we're going to go on a quick break as well. We're going to hopefully see this wind increase once this rain passes. It seems to be the case that every time we go back into sequence, it decides to pepper it down once again. But this is the aim of the game. We are up here in Sylt. Sometimes the conditions can be great. Sometimes it can be rainy. Sometimes it can be sunny. It's a bit like home for me, really. But don't go anywhere. Competition on standby. We'll be back underway with this final very shortly. Okay, and we're back in motion now. Lorenzo Casati, Joselito Del Rosario, Pierre Schneider and Charles Brodel. We've been going on with this final for a little bit of time now. We've been up and down with the weather here. The rain keeps coming through and making the wind drop to pretty much 12 to 15 knots. And obviously men's hydrofoil big air, we don't really want to be seeing winds around that sort of region. So hopefully we can get back up to that 25 knots. It's looking like it's heading that way now that big rain cloud has passed, which is good to see. It's looking like maybe a pair of blue skies as well is going to be underway, although it doesn't look like it on your screens at the moment. It sure does look a little bit better outside. But yeah, there you go. Top left-hand side of your screen, there's a little bit of blue sky. So yeah, back into sequence with these 4 riders. The title is still up for grabs, as well as the European Championship. Let's bear that one in mind. So the only one that wouldn't be eligible for the European Championship, if they were to win the event, would be Joselito, because he is coming out of the Dominican Republic. So European title can go to Lorenzo Casati, Pierre Schneider, or Charles Brodel. And obviously there is the event title up for grabs as well. But all riders in the whole hydrofoil discipline will be gathering ranking points towards the world ranking as well. And, and then we should be seeing the final event in Brazil take place. So Lorenzo Casati there going for his 3rd trick attempt. You can see some scores are on the board if you've just tuned in. Like I said, we've been up and down with this rain cloud, but they have all done 2 trick attempts. So as it stands, Charles Brodel is in 1st place. He has a score and a crash to his name. Lorenzo Casati there just going for his 3rd trick attempt. As yeah, rain is clearly gone now. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that we don't have to stop competition once again. Joselito here getting a little bit unstable, but managing to keep it under control. Left foot forward as we follow him, waiting for the kicker, finding the right moment to jump. As he jumps, kite loop looked like a board off there as well. I don't know if he got both his feet out. However, he is back onto the foil there. That's quite nice there from Joselito. Not much height by the looks of things. Tough to see from the drone angle, but it didn't look like he had a lot of height. Ah, no, he did all right there. Kite loop board off, but landing, yeah. I think that's actually probably going to go down as a crash. Yeah, big, heavy landing, bit of a back slap, let's say. Kite loop back roll for Lorenzo Casati scored a 3.70, so he's now on the scorecards. Trick attempts are going to be 3, counting. There are 7 total trick attempts. But we are kicking things off from round number 3. Pierre Schneider now, left foot forward. What's he got? Goes up, back roll, contra loop with a board off. This guy don't miss. Pierre Schneider up in the level here. That's what we want to see. That's probably going to be one of his better scoring tricks there. He's got a 5.33 at the moment. That's made up from his kite loop back roll, as we see here. Back roll pulls with the front hand, which shows me it's a contra loop. And a pretty smooth landing, actually, there. Charles Brodel now is going to bump down into 2nd place after Pierre, because that's going to count. That's going to score. And here he is, the current world champion, left foot forward, so he wants to use a bit of the kicker. Where's he gone? Oh, we've gone from one rider to the other. As Charles Brodel there, just coming into your screen. I don't know what happened there. Obviously, we were following Charles Brodel, and then we got sort of swallowed up by a wave. Shows you at that high tide, the swell is, yeah, rather large. But it's good, you know, you can see there, it's just sort of rolling through, giving the riders the odd kicker or 2, let's say. But Charles Brodel now, yeah, we did miss that trick, but the scores are coming in, and it's looking like it's going to be around the high 5s. So Lorenzo Casati now, 4th trick attempt. He is currently in last place with that kite loop back roll, scoring a 3.70. Goes up, front roll, kite loop, and straight back on the foil. That's nice from Lorenzo there. That's what he needs. Get a couple of tricks on the scoreboard and allow yourself to be a little bit more flexible within what you want to try. As we watch here, kite loop, yeah, with that forward rotation. So now we go to Joselito. Had a crash on the last attempt, or on the last 2 attempts actually, so he'll be wanting to get a score on the board to just ease the pressure a little bit when we come into the back end stages of this heat. Joselito now gaining speed, looking powered, going up, kite loop, late back with a little touch at the front of the board, but that's going to be a crash. Wasn't able to link the landing together. All looks so good until those final moments of the trick. But you can start to link some of those landings. That will pair nicely with the maneuvers we're seeing from Joselito, and he'll start ticking off that score. Because at the moment, he's now dropped back down into last place. Lorenzo Casati with the kite loop front roll of a 4.90. Nice score there. Charles Brodel with a contra loop front roll board off, the one we missed, which was a 5.73. So you can see now scores starting to drop. Charles Brodel just that little bit further out in front from Pierre, who is 1.78 of a point behind. All riders bar Joselito have 2 tricks counting towards their score. They can allow a total of 3. So there's still some tricks to be added, as we see a kite loop maybe wanting to go for a board off there, coming down pretty heavy for Pierre Schneider. Looked like he wanted to try and grab the board and take it off there, maybe a 1-footer. So, quick wind update for all of you at home wondering how windy it is out here. Let's just refresh my screen. We are looking at around 26 knots now, gusting up to 32. So that's a little bit more like it now as we enter the trick attempt number 5. First, we do have Charles Brodel to go ahead though and do his 4th trick attempt. This is the sort of wind which now favours Charles Brodel a little bit more. Right foot forward. What have we got? Gaining speed, looking for the right kickers. You can see him hunting it down. Back roll, kite loop, board off. Nice extension there with the legs, sort of pencil-like. And straight back up onto the foil. That's how it's done. Textbook there from the Frenchman. And that's going to really give him a little bit more of an edge to push his way out into first position that little bit further. The 2 riders, or sorry, the 3 riders, now a bit work to do. Love the way he extends the body. He's one of the only riders that really extends and sort of goes straight with his limbs. Also takes the board off at a nice part. Doesn't do it after the loop. So now we are on trick attempt number 5. We follow Lorenzo, who is in 3rd place. A 6.08 there for Charles, as Lorenzo there swinging under, getting great height there. Not sure what that was, but we will find out. But looked like to be one of the bigger moves that we've seen in this heat so far. Gaining good height. Here we go. We see the replay. What was it that we see? Good kicker. Back roll. Kite loop maybe. Wonder if that was a double. I don't think it was, but the scores are coming in quite nice here. I think a very well executed back roll kite loop there for Lorenzo. Did look like he was pulling on that bar for a little bit longer though. Joselito, trick attempt number 5. Following the Dominican, Lorenzo's scores coming in. It's going to be around the low to mid 6s. Joselito Kite loop board off. Did he get both feet over there? He's added in what looked to be an accidental rotation. And that explains the crash there. Just a little bit out of control on that one. As we watch the replay, take off. I did get both feet out. But yeah, you can see there. Looked like he added in that rotation accidentally. So that's going to be a crash. The contra loop back roll was from Lorenzo Casati. 6.33. He is now chomping at the bit for first place. Pierre Schneider, 5th trick attempt coming up for the Swissman. Jumps, kite loop. Oh, I reckon he wants the S loop. I reckon he wants an S loop. He did try it in the, I think, the semi-finals. Rain now starting to come down once again. This could mean we go on to standby, but I'm waiting for that buzzer. But I can see from the window the rain's coming in. I'm looking at the wind forecast as well. What's it doing now? It has dropped a few knots. Really tough and challenging conditions for our riders. They're getting thrown a handful here during this last heat of the discipline. Black flag now for Charles Brodel. Important moment here for Charles Brodel because the wind is dropping during this little squall of rain that's coming through. And how is he going to factor this one in? Because Lorenzo Casati is hot on his heels. Contra loop, front roll, board off. Oh. Stop it, Charles. Makes it look too easy there. His contra loop front roll board off before was a 5.73. Will that edge it? Definitely had the height, as you see here. Front roll, contra loop takes that board off. Added rotation on the way down. And we go back to Lorenzo Casati. Wind doesn't look to be as steep as it was before. But the rain has stopped, so let's have a little look. Yeah, wind still floating around the mid-20s. Charles at the moment showing a lot of style. Very much in control of the maneuvers he's doing. Good execution. And also on that last one, showing a little bit of power. That's exactly what the judges want. Lorenzo Casati here. Double back roll. Kite loop, but really the sort of loop was pulled quite late. Also got pretty much no height on that one. Judges wanting to see definitely some more, let's say, power and commitment actually going into the move. Joselito up next. Just the one score on the board for him. Definitely got a bit of work to do here because we are, yeah, he needs to land these 2 tricks because it's 3 tricks counting out of the 7 and he only has 1 on the scoreboard. So to give himself a fighting chance of getting on the podium, he really needs to land here. Is he going to play it safe, or are we going to see him push the boundaries a little bit? Pierre Schneider, he needs a 10.87 to go into second. So if he crashes here, it's game over for Joselito to be on the podium. What's he got? He's got a contra loop front roll. So if he wanted to play it really safe, you could go for a kite loop. If you wanted to push the boat out a little bit, maybe add a rotation in there. But he's still got work to do on the 7th, but he cannot afford a crash here. This is the moment of truth now. Yep, he's checking his watch. He knows he's got time. Joselito. Left foot forwards. Gaining speed. But he's just gone over again there, lost his speed. Can he find another kicker? Gaining momentum again. It's all might be a little bit too rushed. Here he goes. Kite loop late back. That's exactly what I thought he might do. Added little grab, but that's going to be a crash. He knows it as well. Joselito had a chance there to just give himself a better opportunity of getting on the podium. It all looks so good. Kite loop was pulled at the right time. I think the grab there Going for that additional grab. Maybe just threw his body off balance a little bit. Didn't need to have it. And now he's left. Yeah, the door is not open for him to even finish third now. So no, he has a chance still. But it's got to be a good score for Joselito. As Pierre just gets a nice face slap there. Goes over the front. Yeah, Joselito has a chance of going in third. But second is out the picture. He's tricked out for second place. He needs 10.87. Pierre Schneider, on the other hand, to bump into second place, only needs an additional 3.45. He has a kite loop of that 1.73 that you see on your screen. It's the lowest score out of the three combined. If he can up that a little bit, then that will help massively. But I think he's going to be crashed out here. Yep, he has been crashed out, Pierre Schneider. So again, for Pierre, it's going to come down to the last trick. Charles Brodel currently on 19.61. We did see a much higher combined heat total for Charles of a 25.17 as he goes for a kite loop board off again. Does he get it back on his feet? Yes, he does. So in control, Charles Brodel. Straight back onto the foil. He liked that one. Just when you thought he was going to crash there, he was able to keep it together. And that is why he is the guy to beat. We watch the replay here. Takes off, board off, kite loop, extends the legs, manages to get that front foot in and down loops that kite at the perfect moment where it just swings his body back underneath the kite. Such an important loop, that one, on his way down, so that he makes the landing that much easier. And it's looking good. The kite loop board off he had before was a 5.80. That was definitely better than the first. So we are going to see Charles Brodel probably push in towards the 20s, I reckon. Which makes this move for Lorenzo Casati a very important one. He's got to go big here. I mean, he's just got to go for something ridiculous. I'm going to just poke my eyes. My head's outside the screen here. Lorenzo Casati. Going, finding speed, finding the kicker, going for that loop of the kite with some added rotations on the way down, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think, as he follows it up with a crash. Back roll, yeah, with the loop, some added rotations. So, I believe now that we have Charles Brodel that is going to take the victory here, but Joselito has a chance to get into third, sorry. He can't get to second, but he can get into third. It needs to be good though, he needs to score big. Wind speed picking up. We're on 33 knots now. It is really pumping out there at the end of this heat. This is what we want to see. Riders have a great opportunity now to push the boat out the water a little bit. Joselito needs a big score. He's got the wind behind him. There's the waves there for kickers. Definitely looks powered on that kite, doesn't he? Goes up. Kite loop, late back. Wanting the grab again. And somehow managing to keep that together. I mean, that foil is rocketing out of the water. As you can see there, the replay. That late back rotation, yeah. Trying to grab the nose of the board as well. Doesn't necessarily need that grab. But I think that's definitely not going to be enough for him to push up into the position that he wants, which is that third spot. So Joselito will remain in fourth. That's confirmed. Pierre Schneider now. Having a look at Joselito and thinking, you know what, I'm going to give that a go as well. But that looks to be a crash for him as well. He'll remain in third. Second place, if I look here, yeah, Lorenzo Cassetti can't do anything because he's done 7 trick attempts and he crashed his last, which means that Charles Brodel has a victory move here. Charles Brodel is going to be taking the victory here in Sylt after a show-stopping performance, once again displaying why he is numero uno, number 1 in the world, the best hydrofoiler out there when it comes to this discipline. And here he is, just as the rain starts to pepper down. He's going big. Kite loop board off once again. Perfect timing. And absolutely nails it. And there he is on your screen. The Frenchman has once again dominated and taken the event win with 21.54 as a total score. That might even increase. The kite loop board off they did before was a 7.73. Very similar there on that last move. Kite loop board off. And beautifully done. Look at the timing of that down loop. He sort of ends up swinging under it. But he is now confirmed as the event winner here in Sylt. And let's remind ourselves, not just has he got the event win, but he is also now your European Hydrofoil Big Air World Champion. So a big congratulations to Charles Brodel, once again showing why he is the top dog when it comes to this discipline. And for him, he will be making his way back in towards the beach here to most likely celebrate. I wonder if he knows he's won here, but you can see there Tom Hartman, the tour manager of the Qatar AGK Kite World Tour, walking with the French flag towards Charles Brodel to meet him. Tom coming out from Mauritius, and Sylt for sure is quite a different scenery, let's say, with all this rain. But nonetheless, here he is, Charles Brodel coming in, knowing now that he's taken the victory here in Sylt. And you can see the smile on his face. He's super stoked to take yet another win. So we're just going to stay here with Tom and Charles and just get a little bit of that raw emotion from our event winner here in Sylt. Wind now is staying around that sort of mid to 20 mark. And the tide is really high now. You can see it's almost creating this sort of lagoon at the event site. But I don't think it will get any higher than this. Just while we wait for Charles to make his way to Tom and collect the flag and give that fist bump that we all want to see, the rest of the day we do have plenty more in store. We're going to be kicking things off with the kite surf discipline later on this afternoon, which is going to be very exciting. Some big heavy hitters in that discipline: Matthew Lopez, Pedro Matos, Gabriel Benetton, and obviously Teo Donars that was joining me earlier on in the booth. And there he is, Charles Brodel, your event winner here in Sylt, European champion.
I appreciate it.
We got this. We don't have any speakers here, but we will do a...
Nice.
So, how did you feel? How were the conditions for you? It was crazy.
Yeah, these conditions are my favorite. When the wind is strong, I really enjoy. So yeah, quite happy about this event to finally have a great condition for the hydrofoil. Yeah. Sorry?
What was your best move?
I think the move scored more was the kite loop board off and with the light 1 foot. This one was pretty high, so I got 9.5, I think. Yeah, thank you.
Your new kite you moved with?
Yeah, this kite is designed by myself, so I'm more than happy to win with this kite.
Was this the reason that this was your day?
Yeah, it was, I think, my day and the condition were with me with a strong wind, so it's perfect.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a beach podium photo over there, okay?
Okay, yeah. Très long, mais ça va. Théo, tu crois qu'il y a moyen qu'on, depuis ma part, ils l'ont plus lent? Ouais, bien sûr. T'as bougé, c'est toi qui as bougé mon truc. Merci beaucoup. Ouais, merci. Hein.
We're gonna do the beach podium now over there, okay? You can take more photos. Let's go there. Get it done.
Okay, so there we have it. Charles Brodel just sinking it all in, taking it all in. Another victory for him. And I can see in the comments as well on the YouTube link, he really is at the moment in a league of his own. And yeah, he was correct that yesterday's score, the kite loop board off with the 1 foot, was the highest trick scores, I think about the 9.07 or something like that. He had a huge combined heat score as well, above the 22 mark. So amazing stuff from Charles Brodel. He is the champion here in Sylt. And we'll be seeing him again in action over in Brazil in November when we have the next Hydrofoil Big Air spot. And also there we'll be crowning the world champion. Can Charles Brodel retain that title once again, or will we see a little bit of a shake-up? But don't go anywhere. Obviously, we're going to be closing this stream now. But as for the event itself, we still have the kite surf discipline to take center stage in Sylt. So we'll very much see you soon. Thank you for tuning in. My name's been Liam Judge. It's been a pleasure taking you through this event, and I can't wait to switch over to the kite surf discipline.
And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back.
World champions will be crowned, legends will be made. This is going to be epic.
This is a dream come true.
And let's go for the next one.
Ausgangsfahrzeit Hilfe schon, günstige Gewichter und Platten aus Frankreich, aus Spanien und der Schweiz. Und das sind unsere 3 Sieger und damit auch auf dem Podium in Sachen Europameisterschaft. Wir sind nach Frankreich. Einen Riesenapplaus an KITE Brodel. Einmal ein bisschen Wärme hier am Strand. Dann der zweite Platz. Geht nach Spanien. Das Podium komplett mit der Schneider aus der Schweiz. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. So sehen die Lieder aus.